I wonder if it occurred to me at all back during this time if there would be any rhetorical consequences to using the language that people use to dehumanize trans people against trans people.
The left community online, particularly the LGBT community, is cancerous as fuck.
First of all, as a member of the left and the online LGBT community, I think I have the right to say that, and both of these things are completely true. That's not bigoted to say. I'm not saying the people are bad. The communities are absolutely incredibly cancerous. Oh, hello, Doe. Welcome. This was brought up. Anyway.
If you're not an idiot, you will agree with me on this. If you have any fucking experience with online, like, LGBT or...
Can I ask you guys a question? I was reading criticism of me in my subreddit the other day, and there were people saying that I've gotten more smug with time. But every time I watch these older videos, I feel like I was insufferable back then. Like, yeah, I know I've always been smug, but I feel like back then I was a lot worse. Yeah, like, insufferable back then. But people are saying I'm getting worse? I'll keep trying, okay? Just, I can barely watch my older videos. Whew.
Leftist discourse, you know it's cancerous as fuck. You understand this. People are hyper fragile. There's a ton of mental illness.
And I'm so performative.
You can't convert these people. They're not reasonable. They have to be excised from the left. And it's because it's coming from dumb fucks who are...
we clipped out a segment there. I like having the full context, but let's continue.
Gay? What is, this person says they're gay as hell? Because it's coming from the gays. It's woke now. These people are less than human to me. I have no respect for these people. These people are fucking disgusting. You don't need to be a psychologist to see that a large portion of the broader...
I'm not going to say anything here. It's going to get me banned from Twitch, am I? Let's hope, okay?
Fucking, like, woke-tard, cancel culture, idpo left is predicated on shared mental illness. This is particularly prominent in the trans community. If you disagree with me on this, you're wrong. I know it sounds yikesy. It happens anyway. Pretty much every time I deal with dipshits from the left that's trans girls, that I notice there's a vastly disproportionate...
Wait, okay, hold on. Okay, I'll address all of it. I'm just saying that when we clip like that, there's clearly adjacent information. Hold on.
The amount of dumb fuck lefty takes in my feed coming from trans people. Like, I don't like...
Twitch, this is not me, by the way, okay? This is not me. I'm only watching this content to critique it. This is not the same as me being bigoted on stream. This is somebody else being bigoted, and I'm watching it to critique it.
I don't know. Most of the time, when a wildly fucking irrational lefty comes in to make bad faith arguments against me, it's a trans person. That is a fact. If all of these dumb fucks recognize that I despise them and think they're every bit as detrimental to the left as Nazis are, I am doing good. Ooh. I want these people to know that they're my enemy. I fucking hate them. I really
but they're not your enemy.
Oh, no. Yes, they are. They hurt.
I like that. Because of the clipping, the implication here is that I've been talking for 1 minute and 40 seconds before before Doe says anything. Sorry. You're in chat. Your name. We can change your name in chat, you know, Doe. But anyway, that, like, I just spent like 30 minutes rambling, and then Doe's like, please stop. And I'm like, no, I will not stop.
Hurt me and they hurt you, because every time some dumb fuck trans girl on Twitter who's acting out mental illness, whining, calling people like me transphobic because I disagree with them, they're hurting the left. No, these people are ill. These people are cancer. They're subhuman. I don't care.
You don't have to do that kind of shit. That doesn't help.
Yeah, I'm edgy. I don't give a fuck.
Oh no, God, Doe has never been so right, and I have never been so wrong. Fuck, you went hard, Lamau. Yeah, this is the maddest I've ever been on stream.
It's not just, you know that's not just being edgy.
Damn right. Yeah, it's edgy as shit.
Yeah, wait. I thought I was about to say, damn right, I'm a bigot. like,
making a reference to the Jewish question about how, like, there's like a trans conspiracy or whatever. Like, that's not just being edgy. That's like literally calling for the death of trans.
All right, let's, why'd you go off like this? Look, okay. We took the wrong red pills that morning. All right, let's... Yeah, you crossed the line this... Yeah, no shit. Everyone in chat who wants, like, the virtue signal points, tell me how bad I was in this clip right now, okay? Because I'm gonna get annoyed about it in, like, 30 seconds. But right now, here's your opportunity to be like, this was bad, but, like... there you go, throw it out. Okay, so... The, the one thing I want to make totally clear, because this is kept fairly ambiguous... Doe, you did not suck in this convo, okay? Jesus Christ. Doe, I was literally, like, fucking raging out, okay? Look, so the one thing that I have to make really clear during this is that at no point during this conversation, because it's clipped disingenuously, was I ever saying that being trans means you're mentally ill. And not only did I not ever say that, I think I said the explicit opposite of that, but again, it clips around all of that. So the clipping did contribute to a lot of the potential optics here, but with regards to what was actually going on here, the total context, this is the thoughtslime stream, and by the way, it's a whole 4-hour thing, okay? We're just clipping out a very small segment of a very, very long screed. Is the original stream available? Well, I privated that stream, but yes, other people re-uploaded it. So anyway, the context of this is essentially this, okay? You want me to clip in the full convo if this becomes a video? No, that's okay. That's okay, Tempest. That's okay. Thank you, though. The full context is this. And by the way, this isn't me defending. The whole thing was a fucking mess. But the full context was this, okay? So basically, thoughtslime is a YouTube content creator. And thoughtslime said something about how they didn't like gender abolitionism. Somebody added me in the reply to thoughtslime's tweet saying that they don't like gender abolitionism, asking for my thoughts on thoughtslime's take, and I said, I think it's dumb, obviously, etc., etc. Now, to me, this wasn't me trying to be rude. I'm very publicly in favor of gender abolitionism. Thoughtslime doesn't like gender abolitionism. Thoughtslime is going by Mildred, by the way. Mildred, sorry, okay. Always with the... can barely keep cis people's names and everything together in my head. Anyway, okay. So, I said somebody told you this like a month ago. I do not remember that. Whatever, just shut up, please, please. Just let me finish. Okay, please. Shh. Anyway, thoughtslime blocked me for that. So I was really offended by that because I'm just gonna say thoughtslime because of the channel name. Please just let me go by the channel name, please. I say ContraPoints 2 instead of Natalie. Just okay. Thoughtslime blocked me for that. And I got really annoyed over that because it felt like, I don't know, I was being blocked over nothing. And then from behind the block, thoughtslime started tweeting out stuff about like white cis guys giving their opinion and like speaking over trans people or whatever. This was all years ago. I don't remember everything, but it was kind of like a block me and then sort of vague post about how I was speaking over minority groups without ever directly engaging with me or anything like that. So that frustrated me, and I tweeted essentially fuck you, thoughtslime, and then people came after me, and for about 12 hours I got like super brigaded by people who are complete dumb fucks, and I stand by that. This was before I was having my heated gaming moment, so at the moment here, like at the time, I think I'm doing fine. People came at me on Twitter, and I remember having the most aggravating conversations in the universe about whether or not I had a right to speak on these issues because I'm not trans, you know? And I remember, there was so much of it, but there's one conversation I remember more than anything else, and it was this one person, it was a trans woman, I think. Again, this was years ago, but they were trans, you know, and they kept telling me, you need to listen to trans people, okay? This is wrong. You have to listen to trans people in the most condescending way imaginable. It was like being told calm down over and over again when you're angry over something justified. And I kept responding like, I have trans people in my audience, like a ton of them, and I've talked with them, and I talk about this on stream with them, and they agree with me that gender abolitionism is a reasonable... Like, I am listening to trans people there. And then all I got in response to that over and over was, you need to listen to other trans people. So what? Trans people who agree with you? Okay. I got really frustrated, and I stayed up late last night, late that night, tweeting and tweeting and tweeting, getting angrier and angrier. I woke up the next morning angry, and I said, I'm gonna stream about it. And God bless them, Vermin looked at me and said, please don't stream about it. Please don't do that. And I said, nope, I'm gonna stream about it. Clearly angry still, you know, because this was the first time I'd really gotten like hate online. But Vermin was very insistent. Don't. This is a bad idea. Do not do this. But of course they can't literally stop me from streaming. So I went ahead, and what followed was what do we have? Vaush transphobic meltdown stream he deleted. 4 hours. The colloquial thoughtslime stream. So the basic argument that I was making in that video was an anti-woke scold argument. The position I was taking is that there's a lot of counterproductivity in the online left-leaning LGBT community, which leads to really toxic infighting and a sort of bitter gatekeeping that makes it more difficult to have honest discourse and to include people who aren't the most stereotypical advocates for LGBT rights, i.e. the woker thou'st are, you know, the more social credit thou'st acclaim. And I've always disliked that type of behavior. And since then, I've gotten a lot better at actually addressing that type of behavior and responding to it. The problem was that at the time, that was the only threat I really faced online. Because right now, woke scolds don't bother me at all. I'm too big for them to bother me. They don't affect me. And at this point, my brand is so toxic to a lot of them that they don't even, like, bother to shit talk me online. Yeah, you know what I mean? It's like having my feet pecked at by fish when I walk through the river. There are other communities that are more obnoxious. The tanky community is more obnoxious because they're really good at weaponizing academic, or at least the veneer of academic legitimacy in order to, you know, leftier than thou other people. They also normalize authoritarianism on the left, and they've taken over like every fucking lefty subreddit. Which is why you can go onto lefty subreddits all the time and find pinned posts about how the Uyghur genocide isn't real. They make a really concerted, sorry, I guess both of them, effort to take over and dominate all left-leaning discourse. And then, of course, you have the conservatives and the Nazis and the Jimmy Dore types and blah, 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 you know. But the thing is, right now, because of context, because of perspective, I'm just not bothered by woke scolds that much anymore. I think they're a problem, and I hate the gatekeeping on the left, but they're far from the largest issue that our community has. At the time, I thought they were the biggest one, which is why you get these incredibly embarrassing statements like, I think these people are ideologically equivalent to Nazis, which was my really, like, baby version of utilitarianism, where the point I was trying to make is that they're more destructive to our community than Nazis because they can destroy it from within rather than from without, which is less effective. That kind of stuff, you know? Don't you gatekeep the left by calling tankies Nazis? Well, I call them fascists, not Nazis. In reality, everyone gatekeeps every group, because if you didn't, no group would have any definitive boundaries or borders. The question is, like, how well can you justify that gatekeeping? And to what effect is it having on the community? The problem is that a lot of tankies are literally opposed to leftist principles. If you're a Dengist or a supporter of China, you are literally not a socialist. You literally can't... everything you believe is the opposite of what socialism is meant to be. So, like, in that case, I mean, is it gatekeeping? I guess, but somebody has to gatekeep, like, the difference between the colors blue and red, right? I mean, you can argue about purples all you want, but somebody somewhere has to draw a line. Whereas the woke scold stuff is more like pink and red. I don't know. Do you think what you said could be hurtful to trans people, though? Yeah, of course, obviously. Well, you know, I get tons of shit for the stuff I said. I wouldn't have unlisted that stream if it wasn't... I wouldn't have unlisted that stream, or privated it, sorry, if I didn't think it was a bad look. Of course it was bad. Pretty hurtful. Vaush, could it have been a manic episode? I don't care. I mean, whether or not it was, that doesn't excuse my behavior, right? I mean, like, that'd be kind of like a Weasley justification, right? You know what I mean? Like, oh, it was a manic episode. Like, I mean, I don't know, maybe, but I'm not trying to implicitly defend myself here. So wait, hold on. One more time, just so we can get all the arguments. Now that you have the full context, okay?
The left community online, particularly the LGBT community, is cancerous as fuck. If you're not an idiot, you will agree with me on this. If you have any fucking experience with online like LGBT or leftist discourse, you know it's cancerous as fuck.
So I do still think this is true. I probably wouldn't phrase it in this way. And in the broader context, it's yikesy, but the statement on its own here, I think, is true. So, you know, whatever.
You understand this. People are hyper fragile. There's a ton of mental illness. And you can't convert these people.
So, hyperfragility and mental illness. So, when I talk about mental illness in the context of this clip, and I'm going to shield myself by saying that ContraPoints has already made this argument, because there's a lot of trauma in online LGBT spaces and communities, and that trauma often serves as a glue, which allows people in those communities to connect and sort of build solidarity based on their mutual bad experiences. Oftentimes, coping mechanisms for trauma can be really, really, really toxic, both to yourself and to other people. That there's a kind of reflexive attempt to guard the purity of your social space because you have difficulty discerning the social space from the political advocacy. And I think that oftentimes that behavior does manifest in a fairly mentally ill way. And I say this as a person with mental illnesses who has talked extensively about both them and the way I've medicated them on stream. I don't think being mentally ill makes you a bad person, but I do think that if your behavior is motivated by mental illness, it's almost by definition something you shouldn't be doing, you know? Or to be more accurate with that, if you're engaging in pernicious behavior as a product of trauma, you should evaluate that and not sort of accept or rationalize the behavior because it's something that you want to do, you know? Victims of abuse will often self-justify a lot of heinous shit, but you got to work past that. So anyway, that's what I meant to say. That's the version of this argument that I still agree with. Whenever I say mental illness in the future of this clip, that's what I'm referring to. Likewise, you know that people say that I called trans women mentally ill? That's also clipped from this stream, and it's the same basic principle. I was including mental illness as a set of categories alongside trans to describe the people who gave me a lot of shit online at that time. But the mental illness wasn't because they were trans. The mental illness was the trauma reaction, crazy overinflation of others' harm, like that kind of stuff, you know what I mean?
People, they're not reasonable. They have to be excised from the left. And it's
This is me gatekeeping, by the way, unironically.
because it's coming from dumb fucks who are gay. What is this person says they're gay as hell?
Hold on, okay. To be fair, all dumb fucks are gay, and all gays are dumb fucks, okay? This is axiomatic, all right? Many people are saying this.
Because it's coming from the gays. It's woke now. These people are less than human to me. I have no...
This is just me being, really edgy. I disagree with a person, therefore you're subhuman. I wonder what community I picked this up from. This is just me being edgy. Ow, the edge. Oof, ouch, ow, my fedora.
respect for these people. These people are fucking disgusting. You don't need to be a psychologist to see that a large portion of the broader fucking like woke-tard, cancel culture, idpol...
And it sounds so embarrassing, too. Woke-tard, cancel culture, idpol left? Like, it's not just the tone, it's like the language I'm using is like a inarticulate 14-year-old Ben Shapiro fan trying to describe why he thinks colleges are bad for humanity or something.
Left is predicated on shared mental illness. This is particularly prominent in the trans community.
So remember why I said what I said? The mental illness is like a reference to the shared trauma bonding in a lot of these communities. That is what I meant at the time too, but that doesn't excuse the rhetoric being used. I was mad as shit. But that is, I think, what I meant to say. It's certainly what I think now, you know?
If you disagree with me on this, you're wrong. I know it sounds yikesy. It happens anyway.
God, I'm so fucking condescending. I am absolutely not more condescending right now than I was back then. I have definitely gotten less condescending over time.
Pretty much every time I deal with dipshits from the left, it's trans girls. That I notice there's...
Okay, that's just a statement of fact, and at the time, that was indeed true. Now, whether or not that's true, that doesn't necessarily mean it's okay to say. If I was getting in a lot of arguments with black separatists, and I went on stream and I was like, yeah, every time dipshits come at me from the left, so with black people. Like, that'd be pretty bad, you know? That'd be a bad thing to say. So I don't endorse this. The only way this is acceptable is if you're talking about groups that aren't marginalized, okay? If I said it was white girls, maybe that's okay, because they're, like, less marginalized. Maybe if I said the gays, that would be fine. That's okay. If I said I'm under attack from the gays, I feel like there's enough of a sort of pseudo-ironic distancing from the problematic implications for it to be defensible. Probably not trans people, though.
a vastly disproportionate amount of dumb fuck lefty takes in my feed coming from trans people. I don't know.
What are we getting from chat, too? We have Pepe mods. We have Pepe hands. You tread some pretty dicey lines, my dude. You just did, mate. This is not the take you need to make. This is probably the most criticism I've ever gotten from my chat, you know? Even my Marvel takes don't accrue this much criticism.
No, most of the time when a wildly fucking irrational lefty comes in to make bad faith arguments against me, it's a trans person. That is a fact.
At the time, that was true, but again, that doesn't justify them.
If all of these dumb fucks recognize that I despise them and think they're every bit as detrimental to the left as Nazis are, I am doing good. I want these people to know that they're my enemy.
So edgy. So edgy. God, I should have worn a fucking Batman cowl and cape to this one. And when the woke scolds, and the tankies, and the trans gays look up at me and shout, "Save us," I'll look down and whisper, "No." Jesus.
Fucking hate them. I really do.
But they're not your enemy.
Oh, no. Yes, they are. They hurt me, and
that's Rorschach, not Batman. But Rorschach was meant to be an XP of Batman. So, checkmate, liberals.
They hurt you, because every time some dumb fuck trans girl on Twitter who's acting out mental illness, whining, calling people like me transphobic because I disagree with them, they're hurting the left. No, these people are ill. These people are cancer. They're subhuman. I don't...
Woo! You know, I wonder if it occurred to me at all back during this time if there would be any rhetorical consequences to using the language that people use to dehumanize trans people against trans people, but not because they're trans. You know what I mean? I feel like rhetorically, this is basically the equivalent of me calling a black person the N-word, and they're like, "Why'd you do that?" And I said, "Oh, you know, I just think you've got a really bad taste in anime." What? You know, I just think you've got a really bad taste in anime. Like, it's so bad, I just said a slur. I got really mad. I feel like that's basically where we're at right now. With this clip. Not right now, with this clip. Oh, God.
This question. You don't have to do that kind of shit. That doesn't help.
Yeah, I'm edgy. I don't give a fuck.
I sound like Ricky Gervais on Twitter here. Oh, God. Remember Ricky after that? What was it? What was that awards show where he was like, "I identify as a trans monkey. Call me Bonobo. Post-op." The Emmys, that was it. And then afterwards, people got mad at him for his stupid, lazy, derivative stand-up. And then he was like, "Huh, you don't understand. I'm the torch-wielding advocate of free speech, the Olympian of free advocacy, and you're trying to silence me." You know what I mean?
It's not just, you know that's not just being edgy.
Damn right. Yeah, it's edgy as shit.
No, making a reference to the Jewish question about how, like, there's, like, a trans conspiracy or whatever, like, that's not just being edgy. That's, like, literally calling for the death of trans...
The left...
All right. Was Rick and Morty a show back then? Yeah, Rick and Morty existed back then. I'm trying my best to be a Rick here, you know? Literally stop saying literally. Yeah, unfortunately, we literally haven't gotten any better in that respect. Woo! How about that, huh? That's some good content. I hated his Emmy speech so much. Oh, it was really, really bad. Yeah, for sure. Anyway, yeah, there we go. Now we... So now, whenever you see people and they say, Vaush has always been this bad, the answer is no. It gets worse than this, actually. Yeah, I really do think that the underlying arguments that I was trying to make there were serviceable with a bit of refinement. It's just that I was so goddamn angry that they all came out in the worst ways. To be honest, I'm not too bothered by this clip, like in retrospect. You know what I mean? Because if you're holistically familiar with my content, I still feel like you'd have to acknowledge that I'm pretty goddamn pro-trans. You know? So in that respect, I unironically missed this edginess from you. Well, a lot of that wasn't just edginess. It was inarticulate, dumb... Like, that was like 20% edgy. The remaining edgy percent of it was just dumb, angry, white boy gamer molding, you know? There's nothing inherently wrong with being edgy, but it has to be appropriately formatted. You own it, though. That's more than most are capable of. Don't give me accolades for this. This is a... I have to... how do I put this? It's an obligation as a part of the content that I produce for me to go over stuff like this, so you don't need to, like, jerk me off for doing it. It's really about how well you can hold to it. And for what it's worth, and I'll stand by this, you know, I think that you'd have to be in pretty, you know, pretty bad faith to look at the content that I produce today, even in the context of everything that I've done, and interpret what I am as transphobic, you know? I can't blame people for looking at that clip and getting shocked, though. I think that adding context to it makes it a little more clear where I was coming from, you know? Well, maybe Catboy Jazzy. There's a lot of variability to stuff like that. And it's also, one of the problems with, like, one of the problems with stuff like that is because, it is incredibly difficult to determine the extent to which older bad stuff... Yeah, Demsoak, I see, thank you. The extent to which older bad stuff suggests some underlying problematic behavior today. I'm generally not a big fan of canceling people because it came out that X or so years ago they believed something different, you know? Remember when... What was it? Gunn? What's his first name? James Gunn? James Gunn, yeah. And, like, he had tweets from, like, 12 years ago or something, and he got in trouble over that. That's pretty weird to me. I don't really get that. Yeah, they were from like 2012. Yeah, like 2012. 2012. I'm like I was like a fetus back then. Jesus. Wasn't it dead baby jokes or some shit? Yeah, I don't even remember what the context was, you know? From Tempest, my friend. One thing I see a lot is that you're not transphobic because I work for you. I think that's a bad argument. Yeah. Like, if I hired a black person, would that mean I can't be racist? You're not transphobic because you vocally advocate for trans civil rights in your platform. Yeah, I mean, you know, I try my best. Yeah, I don't know. Well,